Olá pessoal, eu estou aqui com o ator Jack Huston, que interpreta Judá Ben-Hur na releitura nova desse clássico. Can you tell us a little bit about your character?
Yes, Judah Ben-Hur is a Jewish prince who lives in Jerusalem and is sort of my take on the character is very much a boy when you first meet him. He is living in a very dangerous world, but is somehow rather unaware of how influential he can be or how much he can do, and he's very unsure about his life and who he is, his station, who God is, what God is, if God exists. And the character with his adoptive brother, who's actually a Roman, they have a fallout. I'm not going to give too much away if you haven't seen the film, which leads Judah into slavery, where he is on a galley of a slave ship, managed to escape, and it's about him coming back, seeking vengeance on his brother for the act that was committed against him and his family, and then it's sort of a rather dramatic race ensues and some other things too.
The William Wyler version of the Ben-Hur won 11 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
So what's the expectation about this one?
Well, I think we, set out about this film not looking at it as an Academy movie, but as a movie experience. So this is why I go to the cinema. I love the cinema. I love film, and this is the kind of movie that takes me to the cinema because it's an epic, it's beautiful, it's dramatic, it's got the action. At its root, it's a great story with wonderful characters. And for today's audience, we're gonna experience Ben-Hur, but in a modern way. And it's a very fresh take on this incredible story that's been retold and reimagined 5 times over now, and the reason being it's one of the great stories, and we're still finding ways to tell it and tell it in a new, fresh, amazing way. So, we're so proud of this movie. We're so proud of it.
It's amazing. The chariot race is the best scene of the movie. I loved it. Was that really you riding those horses?
Every time you see me with horses, that's me with horses. Same for Toby. We train rigorously for that, and it's brutal. It was a lot of work. It was first unit and second unit. It added up to close to 3 months of filming, and it was an amazing experience.
How emotional was the crucifixion scene? You cry a lot in the movie, and that seems to be really you.
Yeah.
Was that really sad?
Do I cry a lot in the movie? I think I do. Yeah, at the end is my big emotional one because, the crucifixion is sort of symbolic for Judah because Jesus wasn't Jesus. He was a man who showed him kindness. And when he witnesses the brutality and what Jesus has been through, and he's up on that cross and you see him forgive and they lock eyes, for Judah it gives him that moment for him to release that stone and for him to forgive himself, to let the anger out of his heart and be refilled with love and redemption. And it was incredibly emotional. It was because, we'd already been through it a lot when we were shooting that scene, and it was a very tough scene for everybody because, we're all very aware of the crucifixion and the image of Christ on the cross, but to be in that scene, to be witnessing this, and Rodrigo, who's such a beautiful actor, it resonates, man. It just poured out of me.
Lately, Hollywood is investing on remakes and reboots like Ben-Hur. Do you think there's gonna keep on going, or there's market saturation ahead of us?
I think good stories, because I don't see this in a sense a remake. I see this as its own movie. That's why I was sort of open to making this movie initially, because I realized it's a standalone film. I don't compare this to the Heston one. Of course it will have comparisons because it's based on the same piece of literature. But I say in the same way 4 artists could paint the same landscape, you're going to end up with 4 very different paintings. And that's a beautiful thing because that's art, you know, it's interpretive. It doesn't mean there's some flowers over there. I can look at those flowers and I could paint a drawing, you could paint one. You're going to have 2 very different flowers, you know what I mean? And that's so great. I think that's the coolest thing. And I'm a filmmaker and I've been in love with film ever since I was a kid. So, you know, this is, for me, this is like a dream come true to be a part of a movie like this.
Messala! Você sabe que não fizemos nada de errado! Roma está clamando por sangue! Crucifique-o! Não!
Deus tem plano para você.
Yeah, go see Ben-Hur. It's a beautiful movie. It's the reason I got into this business. I love cinema. I love movies. And this is something to be experienced on the big screen. Proper passion. Yeah, yeah, yeah!